tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye ulahudi sanmyao sanbutoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye ulahudi sanmyao sanbutoshe.
Together. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Together, supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome to today's Sutra lecture. It is Sunday, March 22nd, here in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia. Here at Dung Bi An, we are in city center Kuala Lumpur, surrounded by many, many Dharma friends here who are sincere in joining our Sutra webcast. And also we have 100 friends online from all over the world. Welcome. 欢迎各位来参加我们的华严经入法界品佛学讲座. Back in California, it's 7:30 p.m. on a Saturday night, March 22nd. I'm March 21st. So we are in the future, and we're bringing the Dharma to Berkeley Buddhist Monastery, City of 10,000 Buddhas, branches around the world. So because this is a sutra lecture, we have a very formal beginning. We have, you can hear our translator from Australia. That is Cliff. Wang Lifu Jushi is sitting in Gold Coast Dharma realm, hearing my broadcast on YouTube, translating into Chinese. And we also have disciples in California translating into Vietnamese. So this is a 3-language sutra lecture. How lucky am I that I have this team of people who are willing to make my voice go further. What a blessing. So I'm always grateful for the work that they do in making the sutra available around the world. Okay, we have not completed our opening protocols. The next thing that we do is we invite the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, the gods, the dragons, the Eightfold Pantheon to draw near and to bless all of you who have taken time on a Sunday here. It is, I should probably say, Selamat Hari Raya Eid al-Fitri, right? We have come to the end of Ramadan, so our Muslim neighbors are very happy today. They've completed another year of fasting. How wonderful this month for another year. So that's a great blessing too. Fasting is not easy, and to be able to do that for your religion really brings sincerity. So let's continue. We will now 殷请天龙八部护法三神莅临道场，祝福各位。Namo 大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。Namo 大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。 places we do acknowledgement of country, depending on where we are, and then we do the bell song. The bell sound widely resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's lights heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法让万亿国中，共寻其法界和平，以报他日后德。Some people may say, that's supposed to be sung. Why didn't the Fasher sing it? It's so beautiful when the Chinese monks do their bell song, but I haven't learned to do that yet. So we do the English and contribute that to the world. All right, here we are. Thank you all for joining. Here's what's going to happen today. I'm going to introduce today's section of the Sutra, and I'm going to put it in the context of the rest of the Sutra, because we are going step by step, page by page, line by line, through Di Sancha Jopin, Ru Fa Jiepin, chapter 39, entering the Dharma realm. Okay, up here. There we go. And as we go, the sutra is very much alive, and we want people to make sense of it. We'll do that. Then I'm going to make some comments about the text itself. Then I'm going to tell some stories that connect with today's text. Then we have been opening up our Zoom for Q&A, for questions and answers. So here's an example. These are questions that have been asked in lectures past. You can see there's lots of questions. And they come from everywhere. They come from Shandong, and they come from Shenzhen, and they come from Singapore, and they come from San Francisco. So we again are letting people know that if you would like to ask a question, the best is about questions on Dharma and questions on the Sutra. If you want to ask about war in Iran, I'm not going to answer that one. If you want to ask about who's going to win at the horse track, I'm not going to help you win your bet. So please keep the questions according to Dharma. And there have been some really, really interesting questions in recent months. So that's what we have in mind. We'll maybe add a song in there every now and then. So this lecture is about 90 minutes from top to bottom. So folks, if you need to stand up and stretch your legs, feel free, don't be shy. Let's get started. Give you the context. Let's see. Let's read today's text, and then we'll come back and show you where we are. The way we're going to do it is I will give you a line, and you give it back to me in Chinese, and then I will read the English myself. Okay. I'll have to scroll as we go so you can be sure to read it so you can see it. Okay, are we ready? 请各位合掌. Here we go. 其地清净，我念一句，大家跟着念一句哈。其地清净，无有高下，与中具有，百万典堂，大摩尼宝，执所合成。Okay, I'll read this myself. The ground in the garden was clean, pure, and level. It comprised 1,000,000 halls, fashioned from great mani jewels, fitted together. Okay, that's our line. Now, you can see there's a lot more lines like this down below. In fact, this is a description, 可以放上, put your thumbs down. This is a description of the landscape in a garden where Shancai Tongzi has come. You can see there's a lot of description of a garden. Right? All of this, all the way down here. Still more, look. So much. Now look, more. The garden, talking about this garden. Nets of jewels, nets of bells, etc. This is all one big piece, kind of like a real estate tour, looking at, or maybe let's say you've come to Versailles, you've gone to Paris, and you're touring around and you're seeing where some king of France lived, or maybe you're in the Kew Gardens in London, someplace magnificent. Right next door here at Dongbian, there is a beautiful public garden set up for people to tour through. From my room yesterday, I was watching children swim in a kiddie pool. The water's not very deep. It looked quite wonderful. Okay, so that's what this is. Our piece of the Avatamsaka Sutra here, we've come to a big description of a garden. How interesting. What is going on here? Why is it this way? 为什么? Here is where we are. 大放光佛华严经入法界品第39支部. Right? This is Avatamsaka Sutra, chapter 39, entering the Dharma realm, section 5. Teacher number 8, Upasaka Asha, the garden, universal adornment. Okay. Need to lubricate my throat. Many of you know that a section of the Avatamsaka Sutra is very famous because there is a young man who wants to become a Buddha in this lifetime. He wants to go from ordinary guy, he's 20 years old, to Buddhahood in one life. Now, his name is Sudana. In Chinese we say Shancai Tongzi, good wealth, wholesome and wealthy. He is a leader. He's a leader of 500 other youths. And it's a very interesting, what do we say, how religion changes, how religion becomes changed when it hits a culture. What does Sudana look like? What does he look like? Do you suppose Sudana looks like this? Does he look like a baby? This, 我的辫子 He's got little pigtails on his head. He's basically wearing pajamas. He's wearing diapers. He looks tiny, right? Is that Sudana? So that's a question. How did we get this Tongzi image in the sutras? Interesting question. If you read the text of the sutra, you know what it says? It says this is a strapping, strong young man who has hiking boots on his feet. He's got a backpack on his back, and he goes out traveling for months on end looking for teachers. How could this be a baby? I have seen pictures of Sudana that make him truly look like a child, right? That's a Chinese baby wearing Chinese baby diapers. And okay, so the sutra and the images don't jive. They don't mix. Why? And how do we visualize this pilgrim? You know the word Pilgrim. He's a pilgrim. He's on a sacred journey. He's on a search for teachers who can teach him how to be a bodhisattva. That's what he wants. He's a remarkable young man. And he met Manjushri Bodhisattva, who said, "You can do it. I recognize you have the potential to walk the bodhisattva path to success." Set him off to find a teacher to the south. You go south. And the sutra says he went over mountains. He crossed over rivers. He faced dangers. He endured struggle and difficulty. Not like that. This is a baby, right? Okay, what's going on? The Chinese artists who wanted to illustrate the Avatamsaka Sutra saw the word Tongzi and interpreted it as an infant. Tongzi, this word, means a young, or Tongzi, Tongni, right, is a pure maiden or a young boy who has not yet married. So basically that. It does not, he doesn't look like that. Doesn't look like that. He's not a baby. Okay, so that's a misinterpretation. So we understand it. Just to let you know. Now, why make this point? It's because the sutra gives us this young man, and you never quite get a picture of his face. You don't get to see his expression, although the sutra describes him in emotional terms. His teachers say, "That's all I can teach you. You have to go to the next teacher." Sudana cries when he says goodbye. He admires his teachers. He circles around them limitless times, Rao Wulianza, and bows and says goodbye, and he feels emotion. So he's very relatable. I can visualize myself in Sudana's shoes, doing what he's doing. That's why we don't quite get a look at, the sutra doesn't describe what he looks like, so you can put yourself in his place. That's the point. And here's something a point I want to make about the Avatamsaka Sutra, and why after 50 years I am still studying this one book. If you had told me when I was 15 or 16 or 17 or 18 that I would give 50 years of my life and counting to a single book, that I would carry it on my back, that I would bow every 3 steps to this book, do a full bow every 3 steps, I would memorize it, I would copy it out, I would try to explain it 3 times, twice a week, every week, I would have said, "You are dreaming. No way. Impossible. Who would imagine that?" But that's what I've done. And I had no idea, personally, I had no idea that I had these affinities, yan feng, with a book. But it's true. This is the Da Fang Wang Fo Hua Yan Jing. And what is it that draws me back day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year? Maybe, if you believe Master Hsuan Hua, life after life. It pulls us back to the sutra. I would say it's because the description of the Bodhisattva path, in my mind, is the best expression of humanity ever recorded. This is people at their best. This is the human heart at its most noble, most unselfish, most egalitarian, broadest, grandest, kindest, and most compassionate. This is humans done well. And I'm someone with an active imagination, and I can imagine humanity just being this good in the face of a time and a world where humanity isn't doing very well. We celebrate qualities that the Sutra considers poisonous. We celebrate greed. We celebrate selfishness. We celebrate me, and power, and I heard, I should probably keep the politics out of this wisely. So I heard we have a senator in America from Vermont. He's a wonderful old man, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is always talking about inequality. He was complaining. He said, we have some of the richest people in the world have made promises to replace all of their workers with robots in the next 5 years. And he said, this is wrong, he said. He said, we can't throw people away, right? So I completely agree, and yet, who doesn't want to be wealthy? We admire these people who concentrate all of the wealth in fewer and fewer and fewer hands. So in a time like this, to have the Avatamsaka Sutra here in the world in a language that you can read, that you can speak, a language that you can understand, saying, no, actually, the good points I give to others. The shortcomings I'll take on myself because I can, and it will help them wake up. When I see that, I go, yes, this is worth celebrating, right? This is humanity's best. Now, is it realistic? No, of course, we fall short all the time. How many of us can measure up to the qualities of a bodhisattva? Not me, certainly. But I aspire. I wish that I could learn more about how to open my heart to kindness and compassion, and how to learn to be more generous, to really see that wealth flows through like water. By trying to grab it, you only get a little bit of water. It leaks through. But if you take that wealth and pass it on, every bit of wealth is an opportunity to give. If we see it that way, the water grows, and it flows through our lives, and it nurtures everything we touch. Right? So when I hear ideas like this, I think, yes. Yielding and not fighting. So, 不争, in our mind, yielding. First place, giving to you. Right? You want to win? I will give you victory. That's my winning. How many winners can there be? One, right? Everybody else is a loser? That's not the way. Instead, try your best. Give the victory to as many people as you can. Our teacher always went last. Shifu went last. He really did. He walked behind his disciples. He didn't. How many Shuanhua Shaolin photos do you see on the walls here? There's one on the altar, but you have to look for it, right? That's the way Shifu did. So, instead of being greedy, we practice generosity. That's the sutra. That's really in the sutra. Bodhisattva begins with giving. That's how the Bodhisattva path begins, through generosity. Right? So, okay? So, if we want to be like a bodhisattva, admire this quality of humanity, then what do? We know contentment instead of seeking. When I was bowing on the highway, Master Hua, I hadn't seen him for a month, and he would drive up somewhere on some isolated Sonoma County coast, roll the window down, look out at me bowing, and he would go, "Dao wu qiu chu bian wu you, ni dong ma?" So, and drive away. 1 month, one line of teaching. When you get to the place where you're seeking nothing, all your worries are over. Let's go. You know. So I have to think, what am I seeking? Well, as much as I'm seeking, that's how much I'm obstructed. Whatever I'm looking for, that's how much affliction I have. Is that real? Can you believe that? Seek nothing? Well, what about a bodhisattva? Don't bodhisattvas seek to get enlightened? Yeah, but that's a selfless wish, right? So, Dao Wu Qiu Chu, it means what? Practice contentment. Start at your breakfast table. Who was that sitting across the table from you at breakfast? The one that you give the stink eye to, the one that you ignore and you don't look at them, right? I'm not talking to my husband this week. I'll show him, right? Yeah, you'll show him, but what are you showing him, right? You're showing him something that maybe, imagine if you said, actually, my husband might be here to help me cross over. Maybe he's a bodhisattva who has come to teach me how to be patient. And I'm sure you have to be patient with him a lot, right? So thank you. At breakfast, you just smile and say, more coffee? You know, and be really patient. Oh, 知足常乐，能忍自安. When we can be content, we're always happy. We discover, I actually have a bodhisattva right here in the kitchen with me. 感恩, right? Oh, so what do we say? 知足无所求. Okay, 不自私不自利. These are the qualities of the bodhisattva in the sutra. And it's just like, thank you for reminding me that people can be better. People can really be better. And what is this? This is a picture of our human nature in a place that doesn't change. This is the Avatamsaka Sutra. You know how they say where it came from? Everybody know? The sutra, they say, this is our Mahayana story. They say that when the Buddha woke up under the Bodhi tree, first thing he did was looked out at the world with his newly opened wisdom. His wisdom eyes were open. And he's looking at the Dharma realm. And he talks about what he sees. This is the Dharma realm. Who understood it? Mostly nobody. Nobody. Bodhisattvas and devas. They say, 华严经就是为了菩萨法界, 天人法界所讲的, right? He explained the Avatamsaka Sutra for bodhisattvas and for devas. Knowing what was he doing? He's seeing the world with no filters. You know how they describe it? Now, I know Malaysia doesn't have all that much milk, right? But India, oh my goodness, cows everywhere. So they have this system in India called the butter division. They say the Avatamsaka Sutra is milk straight from the cow. Not pasteurized, not homogenized, not filtered, right? It's raw milk. That's what it is. Who can drink raw milk? Babies can't, right? Many people can't. Lactose intolerant. Ooh. So It's not for everybody. So they took the Avatamsaka and put it away. It didn't circulate at the start. This is how our story goes. This is the way we talk about the Avatamsaka. So, when we, at the same time, when we have a teacher like Master Xuan Hua, what did he say? He said, I want you all to use the Avatamsaka Sutra like a mirror. Look into this mirror, see your true identity. See who you are fundamentally. This vision that the Buddha saw through his eyes doesn't change. It's deep. It doesn't change in the Tang Dynasty. It doesn't change in the Ming Dynasty. It doesn't change in the Republic of China. It doesn't change in the face of AI. It doesn't change coming over a Zoom software in your phone or computer. It's the same vision of who we are deeply, who we are fundamentally. Okay? So when we take the sutra and look into the mirror of the sutra, we can see ourselves as we really are down deep, and who we can become if we do what Sudana does, walk the path. So, is that too much? That's kind of heavy. That's a heavy burden, isn't it? But I don't know. When I look at it this way, I never get enough. Because the world outside just is so distorted. Through the mirror of what? Through the lens of advertising. Advertising gives us this picture of people as consumers, so you will buy the product. We understand. Okay? That's the way it is. But isn't it nice to take a break from advertising and look at the sutra, which says, here's your original face. Take a look. Okay, back to the sutra. Ready? Sudana sets out on the journey. Chapters 1 to 38 are how you can walk the Bodhisattva path. Chapter 39, somebody comes out to do it. All right? Chapters 1 to 38, principle. Chapter 39 and 40, practice. How you do it. We have a story, we have a saga. It's this young man. He goes to 53 teachers. So they say, Shansai Tongzi Wu Shi Can Can, right? Sudana travels to 53 teachers. Here he is. This is number 8, Upasika Asha. What is an Upasika? Yopo-i, right? It's a Nü Zhi, right? It's a female lay disciple. What is a male disciple? Upasika. U-P-A-S-A-K-A, Upasika. This is an Upasika, a female. Her name is Asha. Xiu She Yopo-i. Here it is. Yopo-i Xiu She. That's her name. Xiu She. This is where she teaches. Pu Zhuang Yan. So Sudana was sent here by his last teacher. His last teacher said, go south, find her, you can learn. Okay. Do we want to, for fun, just look and see what he did as he got here? Let me read it to you. Okay, I will read, and our faithful translator will. Let's just do the English here. And, okay, I'll tell you what, for the sake of the translator, and now we have 120 regular group. This is my regular audience is about 120 on Zoom, and then another 100 on YouTube, so about 200. Sudana is, here we go. At that time, Sudana relied on the strength of the good advisor, depended on the teachings, recalled his words, felt admiration and delight for his good advisor. Sudana is going down the road. What's he doing? Digesting what he just learned. He's just seen teacher number 7, gave him a lot. he has to make it his own or he'll lose it, right? You have to practice, you have to absorb. So he is recalling the words of this good advisor, remembering what he was taught. He really admired what he learned. His last advisor was a meditator. And by the way, I want to say, I was just over at Avatamsaka here in KL, and this very kind-hearted laywoman says, Dharma Master, I really hope that you will send some expert meditator here to teach us. She said, yesterday, did you see all those people here learning from Jin Chuan Shi? They all wanted to meditate. The place was full, she said. Can you send more meditators to teach us how to meditate? Everybody wants to meditate. Is that true? Do y'all want to meditate? I guess so, maybe not. Anyway, good response. And she wants more meditation. So, we'll see. I can't promise, but we'll try our best. So I think we have right here in the Sangha at Dangbian and Fayansi, we have lots of good meditators. So he is remembering his last teacher, who was a really good meditator. His name was Hai Chuang Bicho. What does he say? He says, because of my teacher, I saw the Buddha. Because of my teacher, I heard the Dharma. That good teacher is my guide. He shows me Buddha Dharmas, guides me in learning. The good advisor is my eyes. He shows me the Buddhas who are like space. Oh my goodness. The good advisor is a bridge that lets me enter the lotus pools of the Buddhas, thus come. Okay. So what is he saying? He's talking about a relationship. Okay. I want to point this out. Let's put this down for just a minute. I guess let's read it here. So in this chapter, 53 times we have a story of a young man who meets a new teacher and has to negotiate all the issues that arise when you meet a teacher. For example, Master Empty Cloud, Xu Yun Lao Heshan, right, our grand teacher, we talked about him yesterday. He spoke with a Hunanese accent. 他讲 Hunan 口音. What if you don't understand Hunanese? 如果他讲你听不懂，怎么办呢? Oh, here's the teacher, and you have to just watch him because he can't, you know. So many people met Master Xuan Hua and discovered they had to learn Chinese in order to learn from Shifu, right? So negotiating a relationship with a teacher over and over, it's not easy. Think about your life. Who can you think, which teachers stick in your mind? Maybe it was your grandmother. Popo, was she your best teacher? She taught you how to be kind. She taught you how to be with animals, taught you how to cook. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it was your dad. Your dad taught you how to drive. Your dad taught you how to play badminton. You know, who knows? Who was your teacher? I think, when I think back, I was a monk for 18 years. When Master Hua said, you want to go back and get your PhD? I said, yes, I do. It took me about a blink. Yes, I'll go back. So, found a school, went to the Institute for Buddhist Studies, first day, and met my new advisor. His name was Ronald Yukio Nakasone, Taka Nakasone. He was a Japanese Pure Land priest, Jodo Shinshu, Jingru Fama. He was a PhD in the Avatamsaka Sutra from University of Wisconsin, teaching at the Graduate Theological Union. So he looked at me, and he said, oh, Heng Shi. Am I saying it right? He said, Heng Shi. He said, you spell it kind of funny, S-U-R-E, Heng Shi. He says, okay, you know what? He says, you've been a monk for how long? 18 years? Okay. You know, a lot of the things that you know about Buddhism, they're not going to value it here, he says. I'm sure, he says, if you want to get your PhD, you're going to have to learn to play the game. You have to follow the rules here in the school. He said, now you're going to excuse my language. He said, they're going to throw all kinds of bullshit at you, and you're going to have to learn to tell the bullshit from the truth. He says, most of it's nonsense. He says, but if you can be patient and stick to your Bodhi resolve, you will succeed, he said. I'm like, what is this? True talk. This is really straight talk from an experienced professor who is also a priest. He's married, but he is a Jodo Shinshu priest. And he said, I've been through it, he said. I'll stick with you every step, he said, if you work hard. You ready? He said, yes. He said, okay. So 10 years later, Dr. Nakasone handed me my doctorate, handed me my diploma. And he did. He was there for every single step. There is a step in the, so what am I telling you? Negotiating a relationship with the teacher, right? You never know when you're going to meet the teacher. So here's an example. At the school, UC Berkeley Seminary, Graduate Theological Union, when you get to the PhD process is classes, then exams, and then dissertation. You write your work. The way they do it there is often they say there are PhD exams, your oral exams. The way the GTU does it is you give a proposal. You defend your proposal first, not your written work at the end, so that the exams come at the start. So I wrote out what I thought was my proposal, and what was it about? It was about chapter 40, Ru Pu Shen Heng Yan Pi, Ru Bu Si Yi Jie Duo Jing Jie Pu Shen Heng Yan Pi. That was what I wrote about. So I handed it to Dr. Nakasone. He said, no. He said, no good. No. He said, he says, I would save about one sentence, but the rest we got to throw it out. He said, start over. Start over? I worked really hard on my proposal. He said, no, this isn't going to work. No. He says, take it back, start over. Come to my office next week and show me what you got. He had me rewrite my entire proposal. I came and showed it to him. He says, no, this isn't going to work. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, drive down to my house in Fremont, 40-minute drive, right? This is halfway to San Jose. He said, drive to my house. He said, I'll meet you in the morning. Start over. I'm like, oh my goodness, right? So I rewrote my proposal a third time, drove down to San Jose, handed it to him. He says, first sentence, no. Second sentence, no. Scratches it out. Right? I went back to Dr. Nakasone 17 times. 17 times I rewrote my proposal. At the end, he said, that'll do. He says, that's all right. I'd still change a word or two. He said, that's all right. So, comes the time when you present your proposal to what's called the graduate council. And the graduate council are other professors from around the school. They may know nothing about Buddhism, but the PhD is basically, it says, you are qualified to join this small circle of scholars whose approach to knowledge is the standard. You're a standard in your approach to knowledge. That's what the PhD says. All right. So here's the day. I'm going to hand my proposal to the graduate council. And there are 3 other students who are submitting on the same day. So I am number 4. I go last. And so these 3 professors with their candidates take their person in, and we're sitting in the lounge listening through the door, and they're shouting, and there's anger, and the student comes out, and he's completely pale. He's just sweating, and his advisor is very upset. Trouble, right? So, my turn. So, Dr. Nakasone says, don't worry. He says, we're good. So we go in, and the chairperson of the graduate council says, Reverend Heng Shi, we have looked at your proposal, and while I admit there are parts of it that I don't really understand, myself and the rest of the graduate council, we agree that we have no further questions for you. Congratulations. In and out in 5 minutes. And Dr. Nakasone said, so, my goodness, just wanted to, and he is, Dr. Nakasone is now experiencing some health issues, but he's still with us. And I understand Sudana having to meet all of these teachers and figure out how to work with them. And they ask him to rewrite his proposal 17 times, I'm sure, maybe even more. But he passes their tests. Now, I want to show you what happens. Oh, actually, he has not, this is not a good example. I'll tell you the theory. What he does, 53 times, Sudana comes to the teacher and he says, 大圣, he says, 我早已发菩提心, 我想知道, 我听说你很会教一个人修菩萨道, 行菩萨行, 你可不可以教我? He says. Sudana says, great sage, I have heard people say that you are really good at instructing. Could you teach me how to walk the Bodhisattva path? How to practice Bodhisattva practices? Will you teach me? Okay, what is that? Chingfa. He's asking for Dharma, right? Just like we did. Will the Sangha with great virtue, right? Gong Qing Da De. What happens next? The teacher asks him a question. The teacher doesn't start teaching right away. The teacher says, 善男子如意发大菩提心否? He says, good man, have you made the Bodhi resolve? Sudana says, 喂,我早已经发菩提心. Yes, I have. I made the Bodhi resolve back with Manjushu. Oh, the teacher says, okay, let's get to work. Rolls up his sleeves and says, here's what I learned to get enlightened. I'm going to teach you now. Right? That happens 53 times, over and over. He asks for Dharma. They ask him if he has, remember last night? Last night we talked about decoding the Dharma. You remember, those of you who are here? We talked about the Putishin. What is the Putishin, the Bodhi resolve? It's, what is my potential for great wisdom? Shang Cheng Fo Dao. Right? Shang is ultimate. What am I capable of? Xia Hua Zhong Sheng. Get to work now on the things that prevent me from my potential. Okay? So that's the Bodhi resolve. He says, yes, I have. I've done that. I realize I can be a Buddha. The only thing holding me back are my own false thoughts and attachments. So that's enough. With that openness of heart, with that willingness to learn, they say, I'll teach you. So Upasika Asha is the next one. And we have just begun this encounter. And he's going down the road thinking about what he's already learned from the last one, number 7. And he gets here. Are we ready? This was all, we already covered this previous weeks, but It goes, 渐渐难行，赤海超处，剑谱庄严院，中宝远墙，周匝围绕. He gradually traveled south till he got to Ocean Tide. There he saw the total beauty garden. Okay, that's the main sentence. Now, from here on, for the next 3 or 4 pages, is a description of a garden. Jeweled walls surrounded, jeweled trees in rows, jeweled blossom trees shed flowers that spread on the ground, jeweled incense trees, fragrance permeating the atmosphere, perfumed the 10 directions. Jeweled garland trees rain down huge garlands of jewels that festoon the branches. Regal mani gem trees rain down great jewels that spread everywhere. Jeweled garment trees, trees with robes, imagine, rain down cloths of many colors, clothes of many colors, according to need, spread gracefully on all sides. Music trees played sounds when the wind blew. Their tunes were fine and wonderful, and excelled the music of the heavens. Jewelry trees rained down precious, rare, and wondrous gifts, which spread out everywhere and beautified the garden. Okay, so Sudana is walking through the garden. Notice, he hasn't met the teacher yet. He's just seeing the environment. This goes on and on and on about the garden. Okay. So this is all about trees. Think of an oasis. Think of right next door. When we're looking down from above, there's beautiful trees next door planted by the government. Now, in order to understand what's going on, I checked into our commentator from the Tang Dynasty, Cheng Guan Fa Shi, known as Qingyang Guo Shi. In the Tang Dynasty, there was an incredibly wonderful monk who wrote a double commentary to the sutra. So we see what he said. He says that this section is it's Yi Bao and Zheng Bao. Those are technical terms, meaning this teacher, Asha Xiushe Yopo Yi, she is such a wholesome being that she's changing the world around her. She's influencing the world. And these beautiful adornments that we're discovering here are just a reflection of her mind. What we're learning as we study is that she is engaged in the environment. She's an environmentalist. She is the Green Party. Upasaka Asha is the Green Party. She's there to make sure that humans don't consume the planet. Her heart includes animals. So when Sudana meets her, he hasn't met her yet. She's coming up the next couple of weeks, probably in 2 weeks, she'll show up. We'll talk about her. She teaches him what? Compassion. And if we had to say, what is compassion? Here we go, hold on. Let's see here, got my notes. This is my notes. Here is my notes page. And as we go, we're going to find out Upasaka Asha has, here we go. She's got, so Yi Bao and Zheng Bao, there are walls, trees, pavilions, those are the buildings, pools, ponds, places to sit, canopies, nets, bright lights, rain scatters down adornments. and everybody there is made happy by the environment. So this is what's going on. And what Sudana learns is this. What Sudana is learning from this teacher, this number 8, for the first time, he's learning about Tongti Dabe. Now, if we were to translate this into Chinglish, which is English words pasted on top of the Chinese, we get same body, big compassion. Same body, great compassion. This is a challenge to translate. Some people would say, identity in material and spiritual identity. Let's try that. Here we go. Material and spiritual. That's another way, maybe, to translate it. It's a challenge because one of the joys of Chinese is it's very terse. And these amazing, amazing Chinese characters say so much, right? So here it is. Tong Ti. Same, identical. It can be the body or the substance, the things that we're made of. Da, big. Bei, compassion. So, same body, great compassion. That doesn't carry the sense of the question, who am I? Now let me explain where this comes from. Upasika Asha, we're going to find out as we read, she is truly a Da Shan Zhi. She has realized emptiness of self, emptiness of dharmas. Because things are empty, when she looks to find out who she is, who does she find? Everyone. Because she has emptied out self, wo kong, she's emptied out dharmas, fa kong. Nature doesn't do a vacuum. When you empty things out, it fills up right away with everyone else. So they say bodhisattvas are compassionate? Yes. They feel your pain as their pain. They feel your joy as their joy. So Tongti Dabe is the result of true emptiness. She's emptied out everything, and everything fills in. So Guanyin Pusa, they say, can appear in 32 different forms. Master Hua would say, 不止32 Yingshan, right? Guanyin Bodhisattva hears your sounds, Sun Sheng Ju, because why? She's listening not to her own voice, she's listening for your voice. It's the same. Now, this is a lofty state. Do I understand this? No, but I appreciate it. I can understand where this comes from. So, with everyone, material and spiritual identity with everyone, not limited just to people, including all living beings. So, Upasika Asha has understood this. And so when Sudana shows up, that's what she's going to teach him for the first time. Interestingly, I think this side of the hall, in the back of the hall, should appreciate this. Sudana goes to 53 teachers. Nearly half of them are women. Of the 53, 21 are women. And what are the lessons they're teaching him? Compassion. He has just been with a teacher who was a meditator. He learned wisdom from the teacher. but he hasn't learned compassion yet. He can empty out, but he hasn't felt the tongti, identity, in substance. So, who is the last of the female teachers for Sudana? Lady Maya, the Buddha's mother. She's the last one before Maitreya when Sudana wakes up. Okay? So, interesting, huh? This is when people, I didn't see anybody agree. I said, interesting, huh? You're all like, emptiness, compassion, slow down. You're going to, so I know, this is deep stuff. This is real Buddha Dharma. Real Buddha Dharma. Master Hua opened this text for 9 years. He explained this text because he wanted us to, number one, hear the Buddha's voice. Now, I did consult I'll prove to you, this is quite amazing. Because we have really good Dharma friends in Australia in particular who are good with AI, they have provided me with translation tools. So I go to commentary. If I want to find out what Master Chung Guan said, I go right here because of the hard work of our volunteers. This is, come back here. Here we go. So I have commentary to Ru Fa Jie Pin. With AI assist, we can find out. Show you. Here is the sutra text. Here is the Huayan Su Chao. Here is AI translation into English. But AI is often confused by the 佛教的用语, you know. So anyway, so I go there, and the difference between, so we consult the commentaries, we don't depend on the commentaries, we even less do we explain the commentaries. We go to the Buddha's voice. That's Master Hua's innovation. He said, you can't understand what the Buddha said. Open the sutra and try. There are many people who say, 哎呦，华严经啊，佛教最高的哲学，你听不懂，所以不要讲。The Avatamsaka is such lofty philosophy, you can't understand it, so don't bother. People say that. What did you find about that garden that was philosophical? That's a description of a garden, right? Sudana is going down the road saying, I gotta remember what my teacher said, I can't forget it, because that was priceless. Is that philosophy? I identify. Dr. Nakasone wanted me to understand how to be a PhD. He criticized my work. So, relationships with teachers, that's not philosophy. So don't buy it when people say, wow, 华严经太高了, 梵文太多, too much Sanskrit, can't understand it. Not true. Not true. Okay, so today, because many of you, this is the very first time that you have encountered the Avatamsaka Sutra, so I gave more of an overview and less time on the text. But I want to encourage everybody, if you can, and I know there are people listening in from places where you don't have YouTube, but if you have the opportunity, go to Dharma Realm Live. See this? This is Dharma Realm Live YouTube channel. So I went to YouTube, here it is. Find Dharma Realm Live, and then go to playlists right here, and here you find lots of lectures archived. Not just me, many of our speakers. Professor Verhoeven, he is explaining the Avatamsaka. Oh, here is Professor Verhoeven. Yesterday's Shuyan Lao Heshang Hua Zhuang, right? That's there. Pu Man Pin. Okay, here we are right here. Show the full course. Today is lecture 169 in the Ru Fa Jie Pin. Here's all these different lectures, right? So you can go here and catch up on the Huayan Jing. We have the Shi Di Pin divided into different grounds, different stages. We have Dharma Master Heng Lai speaking about Chan. We have Puti Bicho, Bhikkhu Bodhi. Let's see here. We got videos. The most popular was Bhikkhu Bodhi. Look at that. 122,000 views. I am way behind. My best was 37,000 views 10 years ago. Ayo. Here is Buddha Root Farm music. So, the pop singer Ed Sheeran, right? How many views? Billions. If you go to Ed Sheeran, his videos have been seen billion times. I've got 37,000. Come on, 你们加油. Let's get my numbers up, all right? Okay, there we go. All right. How to make Buddha statues from Huayan Si in Calgary. Here we go. Singing Master Empty Cloud with the banjo. So lots of stuff right there on Dharma Realm Live. Go take a listen. Okay. Today, let's see here. Let's see if Sam has been collecting questions. Okay. Let's see here. From Beijing, first, 就说请教净土法门靠佛力，自己信愿念佛能往生净土。寒山大师教导就是烦恼时念佛做的主，睡梦中念佛做的主，痛苦时念佛做的主，临命终时做的主，就能了了分明往生极乐世界。必须见性才能往生极乐世界吗？如果有的话，极乐世界恐怕会空空无人了啊！这个我没有听过欧一大师、莲池大师、善导大师这些经中历代祖师有这样的开示过。我理解，如果见性，那是能上品往生极乐世界。我原本不敢想，那么开悟见性，只要这辈子能保证去极乐世界，可别再轮回娑婆世界就行了。Okay. In the Pure Land Dharma door, you rely on the Buddha's power with your own faith, vows, and practice to attain rebirth. Master Han Shan said, if you can be the master while reciting the Buddha's name, so 做得主 was the phrase, be the master, be in charge. In dreams, in afflictions, during illness and suffering, at the moment of death, you will clearly, distinctly attain rebirth. Is it necessary to realize your own nature in order to be reborn in the Pure Land? Okay, so this questioner is using a phrase from the Chan school, 明心见性, applying it to the Pure Land practice of Nianfu. That phrase, 明心见性, is the end of the road. That's after hard work, sitting still, finally you succeed, 明心见性. Okay? That is not a criteria for Pure Land practice. In Silicon Valley, years ago, 1993, we had a group of hardworking computer engineers who came to listen every weekend to 宣化上人, 讲经说法. We were living at ITI, the International Translation Institute in Burlingame, near the airport. I took a turn lecturing on Sunday mornings so that Sherfo could travel to LA and go back and forth. So usually I would give a sutra lecture, I would prepare a story, sort of like dessert after lunch, right? 甜点, right? A little sweet story. People would sit through the lecture to hear the story. So one day I was writing an essay for my PhD. I didn't have a story. I didn't have a good story. So I took a chance and I said at the end of the lecture, 其实我没有好好的找一个故事供给大家。你们有没有谁对于往生极乐世界一个阿弥陀佛的感应故事吗？有没有谁可以讲给我们听？ Now, I said I forgot to get a story. I didn't have time. Does anybody have a story about a response from Amitabha or Guan Yin to share with everyone? Now, why is this risky? Because mostly Chinese audiences, you know how it goes. You say, anybody have a story? Everybody goes, not me, ask them. It's okay. People are modest, you know, they don't want to embarrass their family. They represent the Wang clan, the Li, the Chen. They don't want to make a mistake. On this day, 3 hands went up in the air at once. I have a story. I'm like, okay. Wang Hongyi, 你告诉什么故事? So this is the late Wang Hongyi. He passed away. He says, we live in a condominium down in Menlo Park. This is near, Microsoft and Apple and Adobe. He said, in our condo, he said, my wife and I lived on the 3rd floor, and there were some other Dharma friends here in the same building. Every time we went up and down, we passed the apartment, the condo of old lady Wang Lao Tai Tai. He said, and she, nobody really knew her very well, but we always heard her, because in her apartment, she would play her wooden fish and recite the Buddha's name. Dong, 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 Amitabha, 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 Amitabha. We would go by and say, oh, there's one. We would sometimes go to dump the trash and we would hear the sound, and it's kind of nice to hear that. Go out to the parking lot, you hear dong, 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 dong. And Wang Hongyi says, he says, 2 weeks ago, we realized we hadn't heard her wooden fish for a day or 2. We hadn't heard it. So myself and Mr. Zhu and some friends, we said, let's go check up on Wang Lao Tai Tai to see if there's any problem, just in case, So they went down, knocked on the door, and the door was open. Whoa. So they went inside. They didn't see her in the living room, didn't see her in the kitchen. They knocked on the bedroom door opened. Here was Wang Lao Tai Tai wearing her jiasha, just like our laywomen here, sitting in full lotus on the bed. There was a smell of incense in the room, and she was gone. She was dead, with a smile on her face. And Wang Hongyi, goes through everything that you do when someone is gone, But they said, no, there's no sign of foul play. She just was, the emergency medical technicians, the EMTs, couldn't explain it. She looks so happy and she's dead. No pain, no illness. She just left. And the Buddhists go, oh boy, she went off to rebirth.
从这儿哭只是你的下公。
Did she 明心见性？不见得。She was just a faithful 信愿心, right? So Wang Hongyi tells that story. Everybody in the room at ITI goes, wow, it's still happening. It's not the case that you have to go to the Jingdu Lun, the stories of the Pure Land from the Ming Dynasty. It's happening in Silicon Valley in the 20th century, 21st century. It's happening here in Malaysia right now. That if people faithfully recite the Buddha's name, and they can recite, what does it say in the Amitabha Sutra? Ishin Bulan. If you can recite to that place where your mind is happy, and Amitabha's face, that Sibei de Fuqin, comes to mind, that's all you need. You're good. Right? So, my questioner from Beijing, I think the answer is, if you can, Mingxin Jianxing, that's fine, don't worry about it. Just recite with one mind. From Tianjin, greetings, Dharma Master. My partner has recently been listening to Dharma talks, doesn't understand English. I told him he could click to translate them into Chinese. He doesn't listen to me. Maybe, are you speaking English? Maybe if you speak Chinese, no. He says he loves hearing you speak English. May I ask, Master, can he still receive any benefit from listening to the Dharma this way? Since he completely doesn't understand English, he can't actually know the Dharma you're teaching. So, okay. 我对象最近经常听你讲法，可是他听不懂英语哦。我告诉他可以点出那个翻译中文，你看 Cliff 翻译的那么流利哦。他也不听我的，他说他爱你讲英语。请问法师这样子听法能得到什么利益？完全听不懂英语这样根本就不知道你讲的佛法。OK， 请指导一下。Okay, so for me to say this kind of benefit, that kind of benefit, I wouldn't 不敢这么说. You know, I know what benefit he gets. I do know that when Master Hua, when Shifu would speak Chinese, then he would turn to the translator and say, 你帮我翻译英文好吧? You know, and okay, Shifu, play the tape back and then hit the button, and then 翻译完了没有啊？好啊。Shifu would come back and explain the next 10 minutes, right? And people, we would, when somehow, because it is the Dharma, because it is the Sutra, simply by listening to the words of the Buddha, something goes in, something deep happens. This is not just ordinary language. Why? Look what we did. We gong qing da de shen ting, right? Then we Namo Da Fang Guang Fu Hua Yan Jing, right? So they invite Qing Shi, Qing Sheng. We invite the teachers, we invite the sages, sincerely, Ru Fa Qu Zuo. We add a guitar because it's nice to have that sound. It doesn't hurt, right? It kind of adorns it. And then we respectfully open the sutra, we go line by line. The result is, maybe the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas come. We hope so. Where they come, they bring light. They shine on us, right? And after the sutra lecture, we feel cleaner somehow. We feel like our problems get smaller and our wisdom gets a little bigger. So, does that depend on language? No. I think there's so many benefits beyond language that have to do with the sutra lecture. The sincerity. Sitting here for 90 minutes. Do you realize 90 minutes are gone? Did it seem like an hour and a half? Seemed like, yes, Dharma Master, it felt like years, right? Sitting here, my butt is hard, it's cold. Okay, I understand. It seemed to me like time went by very quickly. And we weren't killing, stealing, lusting, lying, drugging while we're sitting here. 十恶没有做，十善奉行. All good, all good, right? So, in my mind, the language, to our friend in Tianjin, if your 对象 is enjoying listening, okay, no harm. Maybe you can get a copy of Shenma Shangren's, Kai Shi. They can read them in Chinese too. So there's a lot of ways to gain benefit that doesn't have to do with language. So, okay, we only had time for 2 questions, and I'm sorry that we couldn't answer more, but this is a special audience today. Do we know how many people are here today? Qinchuan, can we estimate? What's the physical house here? Yeah, maybe we can ask Ali, 今天多少人呢？你说，你估计多少？ 270. There's 130 on Zoom and 100 on YouTube and probably 30 in Vietnamese. Pretty good. That's great. Still doesn't measure up to Ed Sheeran, though. He's got billions. So, but then again, we're not competing. Right? Okay. So let us dedicate merit, transfer merit, and then people have lunch to eat, which will be very pleasant. I want to say my appreciation to Dharma Master John for allowing us to disrupt the schedule here at Dhambi'an in order to allow the lecture. So we're grateful for that. They had to move Shanggong upstairs, and the kitchen had to accommodate. So we will be lecturing this time every week. And tonight there is one more Kai Shi, myself and Dharma Master Jin Chuan, Dharma Master Jin Wei. Tonight we're going to talk about Liu Da Zong Zhi, Shifu's form for cultivation in the mind. So those of you who are free, please join in. You know how to dedicate merit, right? Let's see here. What happened? Here we go. Okay. We do it by making a wish. Putting our hearts into giving with the mind. Could you lead everybody in bowing? Get up slowly there. Okay. We will conclude today by bowing to the Buddhas and bowing to our teacher. that's going to do it for us for today. See you all next week, same time, same place. Amitofo. Bye now.